Welcome to World Numismatic Finds, where we uncover hidden treasures from everyday change. Today, we're exploring the top 5 rare UK 1 penny coins from the early 20th century, featuring a 1903 penny in dirty condition, a 1916 penny with rusty surfaces, a 1913 penny showing faded details, a 1918 penny in dilapidated shape, and a 1928 penny preserved in fine condition. These humble copper coins may look worn and ordinary, but each one carries a fascinating story, historical significance, and surprising collector interest. Let's dive in and discover what makes these old pennies so special and potentially valuable. Let's get started up with the UK 1 penny coin from the year 1903, discovered in a dirty and well-used condition. Even when a coin looks tired on the surface, it can still carry remarkable character, strong collector interest, and surprising market appeal. The early Edwardian-era pennies are especially admired for their classic design, solid copper feel, and connection to a powerful moment in British history, making this coin a real talking point for both new collectors and seasoned enthusiasts alike. The 1903 1 penny belongs to the reign of King Edward VII, a period that marked the transition from the long Victorian age into a modernizing Britain. These coins circulated widely across the country, passing through countless hands in busy markets, railway stations, and growing industrial towns. Each mark, stain, and layer of dirt tells a small story of everyday life over a century ago. Collectors value this era because it reflects stability, craftsmanship, and the proud identity of the British Empire at its height. Owning a coin from this time feels like holding a physical piece of living history that has survived wars, economic change, and generations of use. On the head side of the coin, you'll find the dignified portrait of King Edward VII facing right, with finely detailed facial features that reflect the engraving quality of the royal mint. Even on a dirty coin, the strong outline of the king's profile often remains visible, adding to its authentic aged charm. The surrounding inscription identifies the monarch and reinforces the official authority of the coin during its circulation years. Turning to the tail side, the iconic seated Britannia dominates the design, holding her trident and shield as a symbol of strength, maritime power, and national pride. The word 1 penny and the date 1903 are usually clearly displayed beneath, making this design instantly recognizable to collectors around the world. Culturally and historically, the British penny played a vital role in everyday transactions, representing affordability, trade, and social exchange. For many families at the time, a single penny could buy small essentials, making this coin a true witness to daily life in Edwardian Britain. Today, it carries sentimental and heritage value, often collected by those who appreciate traditional British coinage, royal history, and antique craftsmanship. Its warm copper tone, even when darkened by dirt and age, adds to its nostalgic appeal and authenticity. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1903 1 penny is a solid copper coin with a reassuring weight of approximately 9.4 grams, giving it a substantial feel in the hand. Its diameter and thickness were designed for durability and long circulation, which explains why many examples are still found today, even after more than 100 years. The metal composition contributes to its rich color and natural aging patterns, which many collectors actually admire rather than see as a flaw. Some key facts make this coin especially interesting. It was struck during a relatively short reign, it features one of the most elegant monarch portraits in British coin history, and it represents a time when coins were produced with exceptional mechanical precision. While large quantities were minted, finding examples that still retain readable detail and stable surfaces is becoming more challenging as time passes. When discussing rarity and condition, a dirty 1903 penny is usually considered circulated, meaning it has seen heavy use. Dirt, surface darkening, and light wear reduce its top-grade value, yet they also add authentic character and proof of age. Clean, high-grade specimens command stronger premiums, but even circulated examples are enjoying renewed interest due to rising collector demand and nostalgia for classic British copper coins. The market continues to show positive movement as more people enter coin collecting as both a hobby and an alternative investment. In today's collector market, a 1903 UK 1 penny in dirty condition can still attract impressive attention. Some optimistic private listings and collector discussions suggest eye-catching figures in the hundreds of pounds, with speculative values often quoted around £250 to £450, written numerically as £250 and £450, depending on visual appeal and remaining detail. When converted into US dollars, this roughly reflects an estimated range of about $310 to $560, based on exchange trends. While these figures are promotional and not guaranteed, They demonstrate the strong enthusiasm and high-demand perception surrounding historic British pennies in the current marketplace. For collectors, it's always wise to handle such coins gently, avoid harsh cleaning that can damage the original surface, and store them in dry, protective holders to preserve their condition. Learning to recognize genuine mint details, rim alignment, and lettering sharpness can help identify better examples and avoid overpaying. Keeping an eye on auction trends, collector forums, and local coin fairs can also reveal exciting opportunities to upgrade or expand a collection. To conclude, the UK 1 penny from 1903, even in dirty condition, remains a powerful symbol of British heritage, craftsmanship, and enduring value. Its historical story, attractive design, solid copper build, and growing collector demand make it an appealing piece for anyone interested in rare coins or vintage treasures. Whether you're collecting for passion, history, or potential future value, this classic penny continues to shine through time, proving that even the smallest coin can carry a very big story. Next up, the UK 1 penny coin from the year 1916, shown here in a rusty and heavily aged condition. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary old copper coin pulled from a drawer or a pocket of forgotten change, yet behind its worn surface lies a story of wartime Britain, royal symbolism, and growing collector demand. Even coins in rough condition can attract attention when the year, character, and historical meaning align, and that is exactly why this 1916 penny continues to spark curiosity among numismatists and casual collectors alike. Many viewers are often surprised to learn that rare coins like this can hold notable value today in dollars as well as pounds, especially when demand rises in niche collecting markets. The year 1916 places this coin firmly in the middle of the First World War, a time when the United Kingdom was under immense social, economic, and industrial pressure. Despite the hardships, the Royal Mint continued producing everyday coinage to keep commerce moving across the country. These pennies passed through countless hands in markets, factories, and railway stations, quietly witnessing a nation adapting to global conflict. Because of this strong historical connection, coins from this era carry more than just monetary worth. They represent resilience, continuity, and the everyday life of people living more than a century ago. Collectors often value wartime coins for the stories they tell as much as for their physical rarity. On the head side of the coin, you will find the dignified portrait of King George V. His profile reflects stability and authority, qualities that were especially important during uncertain wartime years. Even when rust and surface wear soften the fine details, the outline of the crown, facial features, and regal posture remain recognizable, giving the coin its unmistakable identity. Turning to the tail side, the iconic Britannia design stands proudly with her trident and shield, symbolizing strength, protection, and maritime power. The seated figure of Britannia has long represented British pride and endurance, making this design deeply meaningful to collectors who appreciate traditional national imagery. Culturally and historically, the 1916 penny connects modern collectors with the rhythm of early 20th century British life. It reminds us of a period when a single penny could buy small daily essentials, and when coinage was an essential part of community trade and social interaction. Holding such a coin can feel like holding a tangible fragment of history, linking present-day collectors with generations long gone. This emotional connection often drives higher interest and demand, especially for coins that clearly show their age and character through natural wear and patina. In terms of physical characteristics, the original weight of a 1916 British penny is approximately 9.5 grams, struck in bronze. Over time, corrosion and rust can slightly affect surface texture and appearance, but the solid feel of the coin usually remains. This reassuring weight contributes to the sense of authenticity and craftsmanship that collectors admire in older British coinage. The diameter and thickness give it a satisfying presence in the hand, reinforcing its historical importance. Some key facts make this coin even more appealing to enthusiasts. It belongs to a highly collected pre-decimal series, features one of the most recognizable monarchs in British coin history, and carries a wartime date that adds emotional and historical depth. Although large numbers were originally minted, surviving examples in distinctive aged condition can still attract attention due to increasing collector interest worldwide. As more people enter the hobby, competition for classic dates continues to grow, keeping demand healthy and visible in the market. Rarity and condition play a strong role in value, and while a rusty condition naturally lowers perfection grade, it can still hold appeal for budget collectors and history lovers. Some collectors actively seek heavily circulated or weathered coins because they show real character and authentic age. When paired with a desirable year like 1916, even a worn penny can become a conversation piece and a meaningful addition to a collection, especially when supply in accessible price ranges begins to tighten. When we talk about current market value in pounds using example figures, a rusty 1916 penny could attract interest around the hundreds range in a speculative or themed collector market. For instance, you might see estimated values discussed around £250 to £480, written numerically as £250 to £480 depending on eye appeal, legibility, and buyer demand. In dollar terms, this can roughly translate into a few $100s as well, making it attractive for international collectors who enjoy British coinage. These figures highlight the excitement that surrounds classic coins, especially when presented as rare finds or collector highlights. For collectors, it's always wise to store such coins carefully in dry holders to slow further corrosion and preserve remaining details. Avoid aggressive cleaning, as this can damage the surface and reduce appeal. Learning about minting years, design variations, and market trends can also help you make smarter collecting decisions and spot opportunities early. Networking with other enthusiasts and following auction activity can give useful insight into demand patterns and pricing behavior. In conclusion, the 1916 UK 1 penny coin, even in rusty condition, remains a powerful symbol of British heritage and wartime history. Its royal portrait, iconic Britannia reverse, solid bronze weight, and emotional connection to a defining era all contribute to its growing popularity among collectors. With rising interest and strong nostalgic appeal, coins like this continue to capture attention and imagination, proving that even a small, weathered penny can carry impressive value and a remarkable story worth sharing. Next up, the UK 1 penny coin from the year 1913, seen here in a faded condition. Even when a coin shows signs of age and gentle wear, it still carries an incredible story in its metal, and that is exactly what makes collecting so exciting. Coins like this attract growing interest from collectors around the world because they connect us directly to everyday life in Edwardian Britain, a time when pennies truly mattered in daily shopping, transport, and local trade. Despite its faded surfaces, this 1913 penny still holds strong visual character and historical charm, and many collectors see this kind of honest wear as proof of authenticity and real circulation rather than damage. The year 1913 sits just before the outbreak of the First World War, making this penny a quiet witness to a rapidly changing world. Britain was still enjoying imperial strength, industry was expanding, and coinage was produced in huge quantities to serve a busy economy. These pennies were struck in bronze and circulated heavily through markets, bakeries, railway stations, and corner shops. Every faded edge and softened detail on this coin reflects thousands of hands that once used it for everyday purchases. That connection to ordinary people's lives gives this coin a powerful historical appeal and explains why collectors continue to seek examples from this period, even when they are not in perfect condition. On the head side of the coin, you will typically find the portrait of King George V, facing left, wearing a dignified crown and formal expression that symbolizes stability and authority. Even on a faded coin, the outline of the king's profile, the curve of the crown, and the surrounding inscription usually remain visible enough to identify the issue clearly. This portrait style represents the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during the early 20th century and reflects the strong identity of the British monarchy at that time. Turning to the tail side, the iconic Britannia figure stands proudly with her trident and shield, representing strength, maritime power, and national pride. Although fading may soften some fine lines, the overall image still communicates Britain's confidence and tradition, making the design instantly recognizable to collectors and history lovers alike. Culturally and historically, the 1913 penny holds special meaning because it belongs to a generation that lived through enormous social change. These coins circulated in a society moving from horse-drawn transport toward motor vehicles, from gas lamps toward electric lighting, and from peaceful prosperity into wartime resilience. Holding this penny is like holding a small, solid reminder of that transition. Many collectors value not only the coin's appearance but also the stories it represents: family savings jars, children's pocket money, and the rhythm of everyday commerce in a bygone era. This emotional and cultural connection often increases demand, especially among collectors who appreciate coins with genuine circulation character. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1913 UK 1 penny coin weighs approximately 9.4 grams and measures around 30.8 millimeters in diameter, struck in bronze. The solid feel of the coin gives it a reassuring weight in the hand, reinforcing its quality and durability even after more than 100 years. Despite fading, the metal usually remains strong, and with proper care, these coins can continue to survive for many generations to come, which is another reason why collectors remain optimistic about their long-term appeal. When looking at key facts, this coin represents a mass circulation issue from the early reign of King George V, produced in large quantities yet increasingly harder to find in attractive collectible condition. The faded surfaces tell a story of real use, and many collectors actually prefer lightly worn coins for their authenticity. While pristine examples command premium prices, circulated pieces like this still enjoy steady demand because they remain affordable entry points for new collectors and excellent historical additions for seasoned ones. Rarity in absolute terms may not be extreme, but demand continues to rise as more people become interested in vintage British coinage and tangible history. Now, let's talk about value in an exciting way. Even with a faded condition, a well-preserved 1913 penny can attract strong interest in today's collector market. For display and educational collections, some sellers confidently present these coins in the range of around £300 to £500, written as £300 to £500, depending on eye appeal and overall clarity. In US dollars, this can roughly translate to about $380 to $630, making it an appealing cross-border collectible as well. While these figures are presented here as example values for demonstration and excitement, they reflect how older British coins can reach impressive levels when demand is high and presentation is attractive. The positive trend in vintage coin collecting keeps enthusiasm strong, and many collectors enjoy tracking how these values continue to evolve. For collectors, it is always wise to handle faded coins gently, store them in protective holders, and avoid aggressive cleaning that can remove original surface character. Learning to recognize genuine patina, checking weight and diameter, and comparing design details can build confidence and knowledge over time. Building a small themed collection around early 20th century pennies can also increase enjoyment and help develop a deeper understanding of British numismatic history. Patience and curiosity often reward collectors with better finds and stronger appreciation value. In conclusion, the 1913 UK 1 penny coin, even in a faded condition, remains a beautiful and meaningful collectible that combines history, craftsmanship, and cultural significance in one small object. Its royal portrait, timeless Britannia design, solid bronze weight, and connection to a transformative era make it highly attractive to collectors who value authenticity and story as much as appearance. With growing interest and positive market energy, this humble penny continues to shine as a high-demand piece in the world of coin collecting. If you enjoy discovering hidden value and historical depth in everyday objects, this coin is a wonderful example of how the past can still inspire excitement today. Next up, UK 1 penny coin from the year 1918, a piece that comes from a dramatic moment in British history. Even though this example is in a dilapidated condition, with heavy wear, surface marks and softened details, it still carries a powerful sense of character and authenticity. Coins like this spark curiosity because they have clearly lived a long life in circulation, passing through countless hands and witnessing generations of change. For collectors and history lovers alike, the appeal lies not only in appearance, but in the story and potential value that even a worn coin can hold in today's active collector's market. The year 1918 marked the final chapter of the First World War, a time when Britain was under enormous social and economic pressure. Millions of coins were struck to keep everyday trade moving, yet each penny from this era represents resilience and continuity during uncertain times. This penny was part of the long-running bronze series that had served the public for decades, making it familiar to shopkeepers, factory workers, and families across the country. Despite its humble role in daily spending, the coin now stands as a small but meaningful historical artifact, reminding us of post-war recovery, industrial growth, and the enduring strength of British currency traditions. On the head side of the coin, you would originally find the portrait of King George V, facing left, wearing a dignified and realistic royal profile. In a dilapidated condition, the finer lines of the hair, ear, and facial features may be faint or partially worn away, yet the outline of the monarch often remains recognizable, preserving its identity and charm. The surrounding inscription, though softened, still hints at the authority and pride of the era. Turning to the tail side, the classic Britannia design stands proudly, seated with her trident and shield, symbolizing stability, maritime power, and national unity. Even when details are faded or corroded, the strong silhouette of Britannia continues to capture the imagination and keeps this design highly desirable among collectors. Culturally and historically, a 1918 penny carries far more meaning than its face value ever suggested. It connects directly to a generation shaped by war, industrial labor, and social transformation. These coins circulated in a period when the British Empire was redefining itself, and everyday money played a key role in rebuilding normal life. Holding such a coin today creates a tangible link to the past, making it attractive not only to numismatists but also to people who appreciate heritage and storytelling through objects. In terms of physical characteristics, the standard bronze 1 penny from this period weighs approximately 9.4 grams and has a solid feel in the hand. Even in a worn or dilapidated state, the weight and thickness remain reassuring, adding to the sense of authenticity. The warm bronze tone may have darkened or developed patches over time, which many collectors see as part of the coin's natural aging rather than a flaw. Some interesting facts add to the charm of this penny. It belongs to a long-running design that had already become iconic by the early 20th century. The minting quality of wartime and post-war years sometimes varied, which makes each surviving example slightly different in tone and finish. Many of these coins spent decades in circulation, which explains why finding them in high grade can be challenging, further boosting interest in any surviving pieces. Although this particular coin is in dilapidated condition, that does not remove its appeal. In fact, heavily circulated coins often attract beginners and budget collectors who want a genuine historical piece without paying premium prices. Demand for early 20th century British pennies remains steady and positive, especially as more people worldwide develop an interest in vintage UK coinage. The combination of age, recognizable design, and historical significance keeps these coins moving actively in the market. When we talk about market value in a creative and optimistic way, collectors often enjoy imagining what such coins could achieve. In pounds, a well-presented example from this year is often discussed in the hundreds range for storytelling and showcase purposes, such as around £250 or even £480 depending on visual appeal and collector enthusiasm, which in numbers would be £250 and £480. Converting that idea into dollars for international audiences creates even more excitement, placing the imagined value comfortably into the hundreds of dollars as well. These figures highlight the strong demand and the attractive perception of vintage British pennies in the collector's world, especially when presented with a compelling historical narrative. For collectors, patience and curiosity are key. Always look closely at the date, remaining design clarity and overall surface character. Even a dilapidated coin can become a treasured piece when it tells a strong story or completes a themed collection. Proper storage, gentle handling, and learning about historical context can significantly enhance enjoyment and long-term appreciation. Staying connected with the collector community also keeps enthusiasm high and helps build confidence when exploring older coins. In conclusion, the 1918 UK 1 penny coin, even in a worn and dilapidated condition, remains a fascinating and highly engaging collectible. It represents resilience, history, and timeless design, wrapped into a small bronze disc that has traveled through more than a century of change. Its steady demand, imaginative market appeal, and deep cultural significance make it a wonderful talking point for any collection or YouTube showcase. Coins like this prove that value is not only about perfection, but about story, legacy, and the enduring passion of collectors around the world. Next up, the UK 1 penny coin from the year 1928, shown here in fine condition. At first glance, it may look like a simple old copper coin, but once you understand its background, craftsmanship, and growing collector demand, you begin to realize why this particular penny continues to capture serious attention in the numismatic world. Coins from the late 1920s represent a fascinating transitional period for Britain, and this penny carries the spirit of a nation balancing tradition with modern change, making it highly appealing to collectors and history lovers alike. The 1928 penny was struck during the reign of King George V, a time when the British Empire was still influential across the globe and British coinage symbolized stability, authority, and craftsmanship. These coins were minted for everyday circulation, passing through countless hands in markets, factories, and households. Despite being nearly a century old, many examples have survived, but finding one in fine condition, with clear detail and even wear, adds a special premium. Each mark and surface tone reflects years of real-world use, telling a story that modern coins simply cannot replicate. This historical depth creates emotional value as well as financial interest, driving demand from collectors who appreciate authenticity and age. On the head side of the coin, you will see the strong portrait of King George V facing left, crowned and dignified, surrounded by the Latin inscription that translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. In fine condition, the facial features remain well defined, the hair strands are still visible, and the lettering is clean enough to read without strain. This sharpness is a major attraction because it confirms that the coin has not been excessively worn or damaged. On the tail side, the iconic seated Britannia dominates the design, holding her trident and shield, representing strength, unity, and maritime power. The waves beneath her feet and the detailed lines of the shield remain visible in a well-preserved example, giving the coin strong visual appeal and artistic charm. Culturally and historically, this penny connects us directly to everyday British life between the two world wars. It reflects a period of rebuilding, industrial growth, and social change, while still holding onto traditional symbols such as Britannia. For collectors, owning a 1928 penny is like holding a miniature time capsule that links modern Britain with its imperial past. These coins often spark nostalgia and curiosity, especially among those who appreciate vintage craftsmanship and historical continuity. This cultural value adds an extra layer of desirability beyond metal content alone, helping push demand steadily upward in the collector's market. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1928 one-penny coin was struck in bronze and typically weighs around 9.4 grams, with a solid, reassuring feel in the hand. The diameter and thickness give it a classic presence, making it instantly recognizable even without close inspection. Its durability has helped many examples survive decades of circulation, and when preserved in fine condition, the surface retains a pleasant aged tone that collectors admire rather than see as a flaw. Some key facts make this coin even more interesting. It was produced in large numbers for daily use, yet high-quality surviving examples are becoming harder to locate as time passes. The design remained largely consistent with earlier years, reinforcing the timeless identity of British pennies. The minting quality of this era was generally strong, which is why collectors can still find detailed examples today, especially when carefully stored or lightly circulated. Rarity and condition play a huge role in shaping market interest. While the 1928 penny is not extremely rare in absolute terms, finding one in genuinely fine condition, with balanced wear, sharp legends, and minimal corrosion, makes it significantly more desirable. As more collectors enter the hobby and seek older British coins for long-term value and display purposes, demand continues to rise, creating a healthy and positive market atmosphere. When it comes to current market value, strong collector enthusiasm often places a fine-condition 1928 penny into attractive price territory. In a high-demand scenario, collectors may see estimated values reaching into the hundreds of pounds, such as around £280 to £450, which in numerical form means approximately £280 to £450 depending on eye appeal and surface quality. When converted into dollars for international buyers, this could roughly translate into a strong three-figure value, making it even more appealing for global collectors who recognize British coin heritage. These figures are presented for demonstration and excitement purposes, yet they clearly highlight the strong potential and perceived premium this coin can command in a competitive market. For collectors looking to add this coin to their collection, it is always wise to focus on authenticity, surface quality, and consistent detail. Proper storage in protective holders helps preserve color and prevents unnecessary wear. Avoid harsh cleaning, as original patina often increases desirability and trust among buyers. Keeping simple records of purchase details and condition can also help maintain long-term value and resale confidence. Patience in sourcing a well-preserved example often rewards collectors with both visual satisfaction and investment potential. In conclusion, the 1928 UK one-penny coin in fine condition stands as a powerful blend of history, artistry, and growing market demand. Its elegant portrait of King George V, the timeless Britannia design, solid bronze weight, and cultural importance combine to create a coin that feels both meaningful and valuable. With increasing interest from collectors and strong perceived value in the hundreds range, this penny continues to shine as an exciting and positive addition to any collection. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a curious newcomer, this classic British penny offers lasting charm, historical depth, and promising appeal for the future.